Welcome to the Bogart podcast, special edition episode. This will probably be another Bogart's Friends episode, and what we have today is Ahmet Dadali, pro skier, competition winner, award winner, with us today. I'm very excited to have him. We grew up. We met. What was it? I think it was daycare camp. Yeah. We met, it was like Boy Scouts or something like that, right? It was like a day camp for, like basically our parents would send us off to like some random strangers just to take care of us for the day. But yeah, I mean, it's good to have you on.
Was it 4-H camp? Like one of those ones out of Canada? Did you meet up over there?
Maybe. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure it was like a Boy Scouts, day camp that our parents, they had to work during the day. So they were like, well, this is only, you pay dues. And then they keep you for the whole, summertime. So, but I think that was what we did.
Well, I don't remember that part of my life too much, but I do remember being like 5 years old and kicking it with you at the house.
Yeah.
Swimming in the pool, dude.
Yeah.
Jumping off of everything, and then it just took off from there. And actually, just being home, I looked through all my old stuff. My mom keeps everything, right?
Yeah.
So I got old report cards. I got old photos. I got the old, like, journals and stuff.
Yeah.
And I see some cards from you when I'm, like, 6 years old or something, like happy birthday cards, and you scribbled a bunch of stuff
with like
there.
a bunch of
drawings, some stick people, stick me and everything. Yeah, dude, pretty epic to see that, bro.
Yeah, and
so we go back.
We go way back. I grew up in right. So there was a dirt road that was like up this hill, Dugway, and he lived on the bottom on 64. And your dad made like a trail from the top of Dugway all the way down to your house.
Yeah.
So I used to walk down that trail to your house. And I remember this one time I had bought these brand new skis. They were the creme of the creme. Like, I spent a lot of money on them.
Line skis or something?
Yeah, they were line skis.
Yeah.
So I spent all my money I made from the summertime with my dad as a mover. I remember it snowed a little bit and I was like, oh, I'll just ski down. Fucking the base of my ski just went like a rock went right into it.
Yeah, dude.
And it sucked. I think you took the ski and was like, oh, I could fix this. And you epoxied some of the, whatever.
Holes, filled it in with P-Tax.
Yeah, P-Tax.
Yeah, dude. I used to love doing that, man.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, it'll be all right. And then my mom was so pissed because I spent all this money and basically just like one run destroyed the skis.
And the P-Tax we had was always black, dude.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, probably you had red bases.
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, the line skis.
Yeah,
red bases.
Yeah.
And then you got the big black strips through there, right,
yeah,
where the rocks in, dude, probably all over that thing.
So I mean, it was yeah, but yeah. So we grew up skiing. It was a very cool time in life. I think it was more. A lot of people didn't give a shit of what the consequences were when you did something wrong. We went balls out. Like we
were the rebels on the mountain, man.
Oh yeah,
we were causing trouble every day over there.
Yep.
Building the jumps, doing flips. You couldn't go inverted at Bristol.
Nope.
So every time you got caught doing a backflip, they'd be coming after you, trying to get your pass, and you're trying to ski away as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But it was almost like a competition between us and the ski patrol,
Yep.
Where I'm going to do this. He's looking that way right now, but I'm going to throw this.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully he doesn't see me. And if he does, see ya.
It
was always like testing the luck and testing the boundaries of those fools, man.
Yeah. And I remember, it was like nighttime and we went to this closed trail and we were skiing down it. And you went way in front of me because I had the short little ski boards.
Yeah.
And so I'm like putting along, and then you see the security guard come out, and he's like, "You got to give me your pass," because we were at the bottom of the mountain, and yeah, it was
Over
just,
where Lower
Yeah.
Galaxy is.
Yep, yep,
That trail over
yeah.
there.
And you got away, but I ended up getting my pass pulled. But yeah, so yeah, my parents weren't really happy about that. You know, it was just.
Yeah, we did a lot of that, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't count how many times I got my pass pulled for skiing backcountry out of bounds, you know,
Yeah.
through those thick trees. Now you look at those trees, and I'm wondering how the heck we did it, dude. We had the skinny skis. You had some ski boards on
Yeah.
that were like crushing through powder over there, the heaviest powder, you know, the heaviest snow, and just getting caught up on roots and branches. But that was the shit, dude. That was what you had to do. That was our backcountry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we grew up in the East Coast, and like there is woods, but it's overgrown, and it is a nightmare sometimes to get through some of that stuff. I remember we used to do in the summertime too, is the trails that we were talking about earlier. We would pick up like sticks and stuff like that, getting ready for the winter coming up and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
we'd find little trails throughout the forest there.
Yep, and we would
it up a little bit.
Cleaned it up,
but
and then
boy, they were still less, like just wide enough that your body fits through them. You know,
yeah,
like these trees just wide enough, man.
Yeah,
I can't believe we hadn't laced around a couple of those trees a bit more times. You know.
Yeah,
I'm sure we crashed into a fair share of them, but
yeah,
bro, we were skiing some pretty tight stuff back then.
Yeah,
yeah,
and. Yep. So we also we went elementary school, high school together. Did a lot of crazy shit. I think we went to school more because we wanted to do crazy shit after high school or after class. Just like getting into trouble and stuff like that. I mean, we weren't really good kids. I say we weren't good kids.
Well, I'd say we were kids, man. We were kids back in the day who didn't have phones, didn't have all this internet stuff or games and things like that to occupy our minds. So we were out there playing and causing trouble and being boys, you know. Boys will be boys. And probably the youth these days is nothing like how we had it.
Yeah.
It was full on. Your parents drop you off somewhere. You're out there all day. There's no calling them. They'll pick you up maybe sometime. Maybe they'll forget, you know. You just go and do your thing. And boy, yeah, we would have some fun. Yeah. Causing a ruckus around town, around Naples, around Canandaigua, driving the cars and throwing stuff out of the cars, man. You remember that?
Yeah, all right. So I think it was like either their junior or senior year, we got these water pistols.
Oh yeah,
and balloons and stuff like that. And like I don't know if this is true, but like one of them peed inside the Super Soaker or whatever.
Yeah, that might have been me.
And just driving around and just spraying these little kids that were probably innocent and walking home. We were just spraying them with piss water, and
laughing our asses
balloons.
Off it was too funny, man.
Water balloons. I'm sure those were filled with piss too, and throwing them at kids.
Well, our senior year, every day or every year when the school season ended, it would be a big, party like that out around Naples. Everybody's out in the cars and they're, throwing water balloons at each other and all that kind of stuff. However, we pissed in the squirt guns. So everybody's, it's the last day of school. Everybody's out in the streets. They're spray me. We got these water pistols, water guns, all filled with piss. And we're just, all right, we'll spray you. And I remember Tommy Austin, dude, one of the kids. He's like, I'm so hot, spray me. And we just douse this dude. And he's got his mouth open, and you see it going in his mouth. And I probably haven't. There's been a few times where I've laughed very, very hard, and that's definitely one of them, dude. That you cannot contain your laughter. And it's horrible, it's so mean, dude. It's so mean, but my God, it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, we were just kids back then. We didn't know what was like, good or bad. We were just like, well, it's, maybe there's a consequence to this or maybe not, and it was good times. I remember we were talking about this when you came back to New York for a little bit. The senior prank we did or where we were planning to. So one night, all our senior classmates went on the senior trip, but I didn't want to pay the ridiculous amount of money. Yeah,
you had to like sell stuff to get the money.
Yeah.
And none of us,
neither
you or I wanted to do that.
No. And so we decided just to drive around and cause havoc, and we got lost in Rochester for a little bit, and then we went to this park and we saw a sign, and we were all like, "Oh, let's grab a bunch of signs from people's yards, like for sale signs and stuff like that, and put them in front of the Naples High School, lawn, and then when everyone gets into work and kids get to school, they'll see all these signs everywhere." So we grab a bunch of signs and we're causing havoc. What was the other? And we were running over garbage cans and stuff like that. Just like these big green bins, we were just like, boom, just hitting them.
Well, I had a big old Jeep Grand Cherokee, an old '88 Jeep Grand Cherokee. You remember that thing?
Yep.
Little woody dude with the woody panel on
wood
the side.
panels.
Oh boy, that thing went through some puddles, went into some mud, and it ran over some garbage cans pretty well, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we were driving through Victor, which was the rich town near us, and none of us from Naples had much love for the Victor kids, right?
Yep.
Because they were the rich kids on the block. We were kind of the poor end of things.
Mm-hmm.
So we just went down, and it must have been garbage day because every garbage can was out on the road, and we just plowed them, maybe 30 miles an hour, and hit every single one.
Yeah.
And the one got stuck underneath my
Jeep. Yep.
And you just hear against the road.
Yep.
And it's, it's like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
10 o'clock at night. I don't know. But it was dark out, and it's just so loud, man. We had to run out and try to get this garbage can out of there, but it was wedged in there so well that it was almost impossible to get out.
Yep.
We're on this rich people's avenue, and it's screeching, and there's garbage all over the place, and boy, dude, we got it out eventually. And now it's horrible. I feel bad about it, but I'm you're a kid, and dude, that's how you learn when you're a kid. You do some troublemaker stuff,
and then
maybe you get in trouble for it, maybe you don't, but you experienced it. You know?
We took all the signs, right, and we had them ready to go to put in the yard in Naples, and we put them underneath this trailer on my road. And it was like a construction trailer. They were building something. I think it was a resort or something they were trying to build at one point.
Yeah.
But so we put the signs underneath the construction trailer. The next morning, the trailer was gone. They moved the trailer, took all the signs, and that our
senior prank
was
spoiled,
ruined.
Dude.
It was ruined.
What did we do for a senior prank? I think we didn't end up able to do much because they knew we were a bad class. We were one of the classes in high school that they knew we were going to do some destructive stuff because everybody was pretty crazy. You know? And I remember them saying, if you guys do this senior prank, if you guys do anything, you are not going to graduate.
Yeah.
It was something along those lines to where we're all like, dude, I just want to get the hell out of this school. I don't know if I'm going to touch this. But, we did a bunch of pranks, besides the senior one, dude.
Yeah.
And we did, we did a few good things over there.
Yeah.
I remember pooping in front of the high school entrance, man.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right before. Well, I left it there that night. We went out that night. I took a big poop right in front of the doorway. So that way the next morning when the kids would come into school, there'd be a big giant turd right on the sidewalk, man.
Yeah.
We just thought it was hilarious, I still think it's hilarious. Like if I would see a big human poop right in front of your school door, you would just crack up. Huh?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
But I'm immature still.
But
35 years old and still immature. Bro.
Yeah. But no, I mean, now if they did this and like you did poop in front of the doorway at some school, there would be a camera. There's cameras everywhere now.
Yeah, Big Brother's watching, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't really, I don't know, you can't really get away with senior pranks anymore or any kind of prank, either because there's a consequence that happens afterwards that they were more when we went to high school. It was more relaxed, like the punishments, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Now it'd be the cops involved.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, you would be suspended from school. You're on camera, like you said. You know, it was easy when we were kids, man. We didn't have really any cameras around, did we?
I think that like I think we were in like 7th or 8th grade. We had like these really shitty cameras that only recorded for a half hour at a time.
Yeah.
And so you got away
Plenty of time.
I don't remember how the camera system worked, but like there was a certain points of time the cameras weren't on. So that's when you had the chaos and stuff like that. You did shit like, you know, I don't know. I mean, but it was like a really shitty camera system. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's still easy to get around. Now it's a little bit too high tech. Man.
Everything is recorded 24/7 and it is, it's no fun. But yeah. And so I think, our senior year in high school, we were supposed to go to California together. I fell in love with this one girl that I met through the internet, and that's that. And then
you know, forgot the message, bros before hoes, man.
Yeah, and so I ended up staying in New York, and you moved out to, was it Colorado?
Well, I ended up moving out to Utah.
Yeah,
because I decided California wasn't going to work out. And Utah was the new mecca for skiing, you know, for free skiing. All the guys our age from the East Coast had moved out to Utah. And it was a good move, man. I mean, it was really, that was like the up and starter place to be when you're moving on to the ski scene. Everybody was there. The cameras were all there. The streets were all there. You know, there was street rails everywhere, and you had a bunch of mountains to mess around on. And that's, you know, the first time we really started skiing real POW, you know. It was epic that first year out there.
Yeah.
And you missed it because of that woman.
Yeah.
And how long did you stay with that woman?
So I think we broke up either, it was like so I was with her for like 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, I was with her for 2 years. You know, so this is funny. My dad was like, he was talking to me when I was at my all-time low, and he was like, you should have.
After those 2 years or what?
Yeah. So,
later on in life?
You know, after those 2 years, I was heavy a drinker. You know, I was on benzoids, and, you know, I was mixing both of them.
What's the benzoid?
Like Valium, Klonopin, like just like it's a controlled substance that you know, a doctor can give you, and it's addictive, and
those doctors are handing it out like candy.
Yeah, and because they were like, well, I had anxiety, and my parents took me to the psychiatrist, and they were like, well, you know, we're going to put you on antidepressants, stuff like that. And then the benzoids is what they gave me, and I got addicted to them. So I was rambling off about benzoids.
But then you get drinking on them.
Oh yeah, you get drinking on them, and it erases your memory from the time you drink all the way to the time you stop drinking. You black out. You don't know what the hell you're doing. So I fell in a dark place after I broke up with my girlfriend because, you know, it was, I fell in love and whatnot. And, you know, now I think about it now, it's stupid. Like, you know, it was a high school romance that I had. And
when you're a kid, it's like that's everything around you.
Yeah,
you know? That's the world.
That's the world.
You don't realize the world is bigger than this little bubble that you put yourself in.
Yep. So I ended up going down this slippery slope. And then when my dad was talking to me one time, he was like, yeah, you should have just went out west with him, Matt. Like, you should have, like, you know, just stick your foot in the door in the ski industry and stuff like that. But I was young and dumb, and I thought I was like had the best life ever, being drunk all the time and being on benzoids and blacking out. So I mean, it was not a good time in my life, because when you were out west, I was dealing with shit back at home.
Yeah,
dealing with, like, you know, just you know, getting in trouble with the law, everything like that, and it was not good for a while.
Yeah, just dominoes falling down.
Yeah, it was not good. So, yeah, you went out west. So it was your winter of 06. Did you have a sponsor by then?
Let's see. So, yeah, I saved all my money and we graduated '06, right? So after that, I stayed the whole summertime in New York,
Working.
stacked as much money as I could, and then moved out with Adam Ross in Utah. You remember Adam Ross?
Yeah, he was a kid that was, I think he was in my brother's grade. I'm not really.
Yeah, he lived right down the road from me. He was just right next door to me, pretty much. So I moved out with him. And at that time, I had ninth word skis.
Ninth word,
so I just had skis, free skis, and free goggles and stuff like that. But no paid contract. And then once the season started, I got with Rage Films with Kyle Decker filming.
Yeah.
So I linked up with Kyle Decker and I linked up with Tim Russell, who was the glory man from Bristol, like the man we looked up to growing up. You remember Russell?
Yep. He was much older than us.
Oh, he was about 4 years older.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 5 years older. But at the time, when you're 12 years old, he's 17 maybe.
Yeah,
That's pretty old for us.
Yeah.
It's like the big guy on the mountain, and he was sick, and he had his foot in the door. He was skiing professionally. He was getting paid to do it by Vocal Skis. And so right when I got out to Utah, I started filming with him, Decker, and Mike Hornbeck. And I was skiing the shittiest skis, man. Just busted up skis. Couldn't get another pair of new skis. It's just skiing junk. And he ended up getting me on Vocal pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So Vocal sponsored me, and they gave me a little bit of money that year to travel around and go film and everything. And I put together a street segment with Rage Films.
Yep.
Which was awesome, dude. First year filming with like a real production company, traveling around. We actually came back to New York that year, hit some rails in Pittsford and Rochester and everything like that. Bro, it was epic. We had some free skier, like I was getting in some free skier magazines at the time. We had some trips that we did and got it all on camera and like, so started getting into the magazines that we were looking at when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where it started taking off. And then Level 1 at the end of that year had invited me out to one of the park shoots. And Level 1 was, the biggest company. That was a cool company.
That's the company we looked up to as a kid.
Yeah. When that movie came out, we watched it over and over and over again, man. Yeah. All those movies and all the guys in the movies had the best style, the best personalities, cool people to look up to. So when I got that invite at the end of the year to do their park shoots, that was like, boom, I'm there. Let's go, Threw down, and the next year I was able to film with them right from the beginning of the year, and we went out and hit a bunch of street stuff. So that was the start of it all. Yeah. And that first year in Utah was crazy, man. Coming from Western New York, moving out to Utah, I got guns with me and stuff. I brought these guns with me.
You brought guns?
Yeah, dude. Wait, we're shooting guns everywhere, because I grew up with all the guns, right?
Yeah.
So, we went out and freaking all the boys from East Coast, they didn't shoot any guns, They were kind of city slickers. Yeah. So they got crazy old me, Western New York boy over there. I bought some 22s and got some pistols and stuff, and we're just going out into the mountains shooting everything.
Yeah.
We're just shooting up stuff. We go skiing and like bring the guns, dude. Out into the backcountry and just shoot, blow stuff up and shoot everything, man.
No, I mean, and then when you were out west, so you were with Vocal for a while.
So I got on Vocal that first year, and then that continued, up until 2 years ago. Yeah. So we're talking about 15 years.
Yeah, 15 years with Vocal.
15 years.
Do you think the company, treated you right when you were with Vocal?
Yeah, I mean, Vocal was one of the best companies to me, like loyal, stuck with me the whole time. There's times when you're a pro skier, you're blowing out your knees or you're having some injuries that you can't ski for the rest of the season. And they always stuck around me, so they were really good. And I had a lot of love for them, especially when I started doing more stuff in Europe, and I actually got sponsored by the European side instead.
Oh, okay.
Which the European team manager is like family to me. He's a good dude. I lived with him and his fam. And, so once I got on the European side, they were a lot more like down for the free skiing side of things. Where the American side was slipping. you know?
Yeah.
And at that time where it was slipping, I was thinking, I'm done with this company. You know, they're not doing anything new with the skis. They're like hard to get these emails back from, hard to get the contract in order on time, you know? And it was just kind of a dead end. But then once I got to the European side, it was boom, spark, and the fire was reignited, you know? So yeah, I feel like they treated me pretty well. Yeah, up until the end, you know, but it was, you know, me, I'm a guy who I don't like all the stuff going on in the world, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when we talk about Corona, I don't take the fucking vaccine.
Yep.
I'm not down with the lies that were told around everything,
Well,
testing, the lockdowns that they did, you know, making kids wear masks in school, and all this garbage that we find out later, half of it's fucking absolute bullshit and worse for you. So I kind of, you know, I took a stance on that, and I stood up for what I believe in, which is that we should not be injected with these vaccines.
Yeah.
We should not be forced to do this, or you lose your job. We shouldn't be ridiculed for not taking this foreign guinea pig experiment into our bodies.
Yeah.
And because of that, I got the ultimatum from Vocal. Either you stop talking about this right now because it's too hot of a topic, or we have to
split ways.
Split ways, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, me, I'm pretty hard-headed, stubborn dude.
Yeah.
And I stick by what I believe. So I said, you know what, thank you very much for all you've done for me in the past, but that's it. You know, I'm not going to stop talking about this. This is, to me, this is where the world's becoming worse and worse when men don't stand up for what they believe in. You know, men are getting weaker and weaker, and they don't stand by their word. So for me, it was like, this is me standing by my word. This is what I believe, and nobody's going to shut me down. Nobody's going to shut me up. You can cancel me, but you can't kill me. You know?
Yeah. I almost think that's like what they, what you just said was that, you know, either you stop talking about this. I think like a company should, you know, not look at what you say, but how you do on the company. Like, you know, like, let's say you're bringing in this many kids buying your ski or something like that, you know, you should be rewarded for it, and not giving compromises of, oh, you got to get a vaccine now. And I think it's, I think when this whole coronavirus happened and, you know, there was people, like you said, that got fired for not taking the vaccine.
Yeah.
I think that is complete bullshit.
Oh, it is, man.
It is complete bullshit.
I know nurses that spent the whole time during Corona taking care of people that were coming into the hospital before the vaccine was out, you know, for a year and a half or whatever it was. And then when the vaccine came out, they didn't want to take it. So they got fired. After they spent a year and a half taking care of everybody, not getting sick, you know, being able to take care of themselves. And then because they don't want to take this, they got fired. Those are the nurses. The nurses, the same nurses that on television every night, they would parade around saying, we love our, you know, our nurses and our, you know, praise the doctors. Where are you praising them now when you fire them after all this, you know? It's all propaganda bullshit.
Yeah. You know what? It's crazy though, because all these nurses that got fired from their jobs, because I worked at the hospital for a little bit. I was in environmental services. I was basically it's a fancy word for a janitor. And so all these people got fired for not taking the vaccines. And then like when they finally noticed that coronavirus, you know, it's bad, but it's not as bad as the media made it.
Yeah.
They're trying to hire back the same people.
Yeah.
So all these people that took the coronavirus vaccine, you know, and they injected something that is not, you know, we don't know the long-term effects.
No.
So we don't know. So all these people that took the vaccine that kept their jobs, now these people that didn't get the vaccine got hired back.
Yeah. Some of them did, right?
So it's
but I met some guys, man. I met people, you know, because I lived in Indonesia now for 4 years. So I've met people from all over the place. In Australia, it was really bad over there what the government was doing to the people.
Yeah.
And forcing them the same way, you know, for any job, they had to get it. And if they didn't get it, they're going to starve. And they got kids and everything to feed. So, you know, eventually, there's one guy I met who owned a surf shop in Australia. And he did not want to take it. He had a very strong stance against it. However, he owns a surf shop, and they told him, if you do not take this, you have to close down your shop.
That's
and
fucking
he's got kids
nuts.
to feed and everything. So he took the shot. What happened to him?
Oh, he had a
heart attack.
Heart attack?
He got myocarditis. He had a heart attack. He ended up in the hospital. He stayed in the hospital for 2 months, man.
Yeah.
You know, getting just in horrible condition. Horrible condition after taking this freaking thing that they told you was safe and effective. It's neither safe, and obviously it ain't effective.
Yeah.
Because we see how many people got the vaccine only to later get sick again.
Yeah.
You know, some of them get sick immediately after taking that thing. Other ones, they've gotten it 3 fucking times, dude.
Yeah.
And they've been boosted up, and they got all their Band-Aids on and showing them off. You know, I got the vaccine. Where's your vaccine? Yeah, they're sick, dude, with corona again and again.
Yeah.
Ask me how many times I got it.
Probably 0.
0, dude.
Yeah.
Because I'm eating healthy, you know? I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah.
You know?
And
I didn't take one of those damn things, and I seen how many people came to where I lived in Sumbawa in Indonesia, like a good surfing tourist town.
Yeah.
Once they opened back up, and all the tourists who had the vaccine were able to come in, because you couldn't come in unless you had the vaccine for years.
Yeah.
So once these first people started coming back in, we saw people in Sumbawa getting corona for the first time again. You know, like we didn't have it the whole time I was there. And then these people that came in vaccinated, they were all sharing it with each other, dude. They all got corona.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the first time we start seeing it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the whole situation was nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and it's crazy how much people forget about it later on.
Yeah.
It's like amnesia, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I remember. Okay, so when this whole coronavirus happened and it started, and like, they had these like commercials, or not commercials, but shows. It would be like all these frontline workers and celebrities like saying, "Oh, we're standing together. Get vaccinated, stay home, and stuff like that." And it scared the living piss out of me. I remember, and this was when I was drinking heavily too. So I was watching these programs, crying, thinking I'm gonna die. And so it's almost like these TV stations and stuff like that. It was like propaganda to go get vaccinated, stay home, and stuff like that. So,
that's what they did, man.
Yeah. I saw, it was the way that they handed out vaccines was crazy. So,
same way they hand out opioids and benzoid and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they basically, it was, you had to set up an appointment to get vaccinated, right? But it was like a drive-through vaccines.
Stick
like
out
literally,
your arm and
basically what they did was, the person that was getting the shot had to sit in the back seat of the car, and they would drive up, and then the nurse injected you drive away. Like it was almost like cattle.
It is cattle, dude.
It is almost like literally when I got there was a ton of people in cars.
Yep.
Like it reminded me of cattle.
Yeah, bro.
To get into one spot, eject you go on your way.
Yep.
You wait 2 weeks and you go back again, you get another ejection.
Yeah.
And it was almost like cattle.
It is, dude. Here's your bovine shot, man.
Yeah.
Here's your bovine shot. Line up, sheep. We're gonna get you all right now. We're gonna inject you up and go on your way, and you're gonna be a study case in the future. Like we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That stuff. So, people lined up and they took it, and I don't blame them for taking it. You took it, right?
Yeah,
I got nothing against anybody who took it at all. But the way that the propaganda machine had caused the fear and anxiety into people to make them take it, like you said, when you were watching the media, you're almost crying like, I might die, dude. I need to get this fucking shot, because they had induced so much fear and anxiety into the mass population of people. And when you do that, you're easily controllable. You're very easily controllable. You say, okay, I surrender. You help me. I don't know what to do, because everything you watch on television is telling you death is around the corner.
Yeah.
So they've it's mass psychosis.
Yeah.
And they did it geniusly, and they know what they're doing. It's not like it just happened.
Yeah.
This was planned out, and they did every step they needed to do, in order to make everybody take it, in order to scare everybody into it, in order to put people into like a hypnotic type of state where they're willing to do anything. And they're also willing to grab the torch and hold that torch against anybody who does not comply. Yeah. You know how many people, how many friends, ex-friends that I had who held the torch against me, who said, you're fucking crazy. I hope you get sick. I hope, all this stuff, you should shut the fuck up. All this. Yeah. I had so many people say some very
meanful
condescending,
things.
mean, just crazy stuff, man. But they've been put in such a hypnotic state that now they're the warriors for the Matrix. You know? They're the warriors for big pharmaceuticals, where just years prior to this corona thing, we realized how evil Big Pharma is with the way they had spread the opioid pandemic all through the East Coast to the poor towns all around the U.S. They had drugged people up, and they did it because they got a lot of money off of doing it. So before corona happened, we knew that Big Pharma was evil. We knew that Big Pharma doesn't care about people's lives. But the propaganda machine was so strong that they can turn these same people that used to know that into the next, crown wearers of this whole thing, who would take it upon their shoulders to demonize anybody who's not following what they're following out of their state of fear.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So with the whole pharmaceutical thing, this is what I think. I take pharmaceuticals for my depression. I take like an antidepressant, and I think it does wonders. Some people, they're like, oh no, pharmaceutical, they just want to get you into a habit, and then, you feed the habit, you give money to these pharmaceutical companies. I believe there is sometimes good medicine, but there's also bad medicine. Like you said, opioids, just drugs that you really are in that much pain where you need to take an opiate. Like there's over the counter, ibuprofen and stuff like that. I mean, it just, I think there's good drugs out there and there's bad drugs. Like drugs for like cancer, I think are good drugs, Some can have good effects. Yeah, I hear you, but I'm under the belief that eating well and having a healthy lifestyle and going out and finding your purpose in life can have a lot of difference into things, When we talk about antidepressants, maybe they're helping you, and I hope so. I hope it's good for you, but everybody's built differently, and everybody has a different reaction with their brain to it and their bodies and their hormones to it. So you have a lot of depressants that you go on to, and in the fine print, it says this may cause suicidal thoughts. Yeah. And if it's going to cause suicidal thoughts, it's also going to cause homicidal thoughts. Yeah. Is it not? If you're thinking, I want to kill myself, you also very easily may think, fuck this world, I'm going to kill somebody else. Yeah. And then when we look at the mass murders that go on in the U.S., we have a huge rate of mass murders, right? People shooting up schools, people shooting up the streets, people doing, these mass shootings, right? Yeah. And what they neglect to tell you is 90% of these people are on some kind of psychotropic drug. They're on some kind of antidepressant or higher, or even more serious brain drug, Yeah. So that's 90% of them are actually on this. And that's what you don't hear about the mass shootings. They'll blame it all on guns and guns being around. Yeah. But they neglect to tell you that these people have been doped up for a long fucking time, man. I don't know if I agree with that almost 100%.
Well, you can look up the statistics.
Well, yeah, there's probably statistics, and I'm probably wrong, but but no, I think with that being said, antidepressants, right? They like you said, they have warnings may cause suicidal thoughts. Well, you take the medication, it changes your mindset. Yeah. And then once you take the medication for, I think it's like 30 days, you'll start feeling normal again, because it's almost like a trial period. It's like your body, like you said, you don't know if this is going to, make you feel a certain way. So a lot of people that take antidepressants don't stay on antidepressants. They'll take it for like 3 days, say, hey, this ain't working for me. Yeah. But it doesn't work like that. You have to take antidepressants for at least 30 days. The 30 days, and then your brain kind of, oh, okay, so this isn't something new. I got to adjust to it. So, I don't know.
But do you think there's something wrong with our society maybe that has caused so many people to have to go to these antidepressants? Because if we look at the amount of people in the U.S. that are put onto the antidepressants, it is phenomenally larger than any other country.
Because
so in my belief, we're put into, when I come back to, this is the first time I've been back in 5 years to New York, and I see how difficult it is to buy a bag of groceries.
Yep.
I see how much, if I turn on, my parents watching the TV all the time, and I watch the advertisement, it's depressing.
Yeah.
It's all drugs, it's all lawsuits, it's all, oh, the country's in a bad place, nobody has any money, here's how we're going to save you money. So everything's like drawn to push you down into
like a
pit, a pit of depression where you feel like you can't rise up. You can't pay for your house mortgage because the mortgage is going up so much. So you feel like you can't even own a house, you can't start a family, you can't do all these things that were naturally built to be able to do.
Yep.
So we're put into the society that we lose our faith in our own futures, which is, to me, the stem of a lot of this depressing type of feeling that kind of captivates you, is this anxiety about the future. Where's the future going to go? What can I do? I have no control over anything. So we've, in my belief, we've created a society that is a virus, and a lot of people are infected with that virus of negativity. And it has caused this epidemic of needing depressants, and it's nobody's fault. It's the system's fucking fault.
Yeah.
Because if you go to Indonesia, nobody's taking it.
Yeah.
Nobody's on it, and nobody's killing themselves at these extreme rates.
Yeah.
If we go to my island in Indonesia, you never hear of a suicide. And I'll tell you what they have. They have a strong family, strong family values. They have God in their life. So they have, this belief in a higher power and a bigger purpose to their lives, which I think helps tremendously. They eat healthy, and they're out all day in the sun.
Yeah.
They're playing all day from the time they're kids, dude. They're out in the sun, and they're doing things, and they're productive, and they don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they can buy houses, they can have families, and they can take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you want to support the podcast, you can always get a shirt, the Bogart Podcast shirt. Just email me at thebogartpodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you out a shirt. I think they're only, $25 for a shirt. But yeah, so if you want to help me out in the podcast, just get a shirt. Email me, thebogartpodcast@gmail.com. All right, back to the interview.
And you know what? I agree with you that like the value, or like the way America is right now, like it's just it's all propaganda. It's all like, you watch the news and it's just all facts that are not 100%. It's all it's all propaganda.
It's all propaganda.
It's all propaganda. And yeah. So
I'll tell you where that propaganda came from real quick. I'll just go off on this little rant. The propaganda starts. Well, there was a purveyor of propaganda. The guy who made it was actually from the States, I believe, to include it into advertisements. But Germany was very good at propaganda. During World War II, Hitler was a master of propaganda. He had it absolutely sorted out to a T. He knew how to captivate people's minds and to do it very easily. Very simple messages. After World War II, we took all those Nazis over into the U.S. Project Paperclip, where we took thousands of Nazis, scientists, doctors, soldiers, high up in the military ranking, and we brought them over here, and they got put in charge of the CIA, they got put in charge of NASA, they got put in charge of huge governmental positional powers.
No,
they did. You look it up, brother.
Right.
I'm not
I
saying anything that ain't untrue. You look up Project Paperclip. Anybody watching this right now? They look that up, Project Paperclip. It's a real thing. It's documented, and that's what they did. And they were able to include the propaganda that they already had. And they were able to take the research that they had already done in the pharmaceutical realms, in the military realms, the military industrial complex. They were able to push it over here. So they were factually Nazis taken over and brought to America, and they had been put into those positions where they had a lot of control over the future.
Now, now this is what I think about it, though. These war criminals that were over, the Nazis that, you said that they brought over to represent something or do something. Why would you think they would take war criminals, like someone that we were against in World War II, and make them into authority?
Bro, a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First
of all, they don't see them as war criminals.
Okay.
First of all, they took a small amount of their war criminals, of the Nazis, and they put them up on trial. The trial was meant for all of us to see justice being served in our eyes. However, they had such an advancement in different technologies in different realms, especially in psychological operations.
Yeah.
In knowing the minds of people, because they were able to study the minds of people, especially in the concentration camps and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So they're able to dive in much deeper than we're able to do, because we did not hold these, America did hold a lot of unethical practices on, mentally retarded people and stuff like this, gay people, everything. But the Nazis were able to do it to everybody, to loads of people. And they were able to so what they were able to find, what they were able to discover with that is highly valuable information. Whether it's weaponry, psychology, pharmaceutical druggery, or all the different realms. So you would not want those people to die with that knowledge. You would want to use that knowledge in order for your country to expand their ability to control over a population.
Wow.
Like, let me tell you, in the camps, they use fluoride in the water. Okay. So in the Jewish camps, they would use fluoride in the water because it would make people more obedient.
I understand. Yeah,
so they give them high amounts of that, and then what do you see in our water? Right after World War II, they start to fluoridate all the water. Yeah, it makes you more lethargic. Is a good word for it. So more tired out, more obedient to different things.
Isn't fluoride? Don't they put it in like water because it's like the?
That's what they want you to believe for your teeth.
For your teeth.
No. Horrible for your teeth.
Oh, okay.
Horrible for your teeth. But they needed a way to dump the byproduct of aluminum, because you get fluoride off the production of aluminum. So now you're taking the waste from producing aluminum, and it's cheaper to be able to dump it into the water of the population than to be able to dispose of it properly. Because it is toxic. Yeah. It is toxic. So instead of these companies having to pay tons of money to be able to dispose of that toxic material, they're actually able to lobby the government into allowing them to dump it into the water, claiming that it's good for your teeth, which they had a couple dentists that they hired in to say, oh yeah, these are great for the teeth, especially in young kids. Yeah. And then they can make money off of it. So instead of paying money to dispose of the byproduct, they actually make money from the government, selling it to the government and dumping it into your water. Yeah. And let me just, the toothpaste. Yeah. You go around the toothpaste shop, look at any toothpaste that has fluoride in it. Okay. What does it say underneath? It says warnings. Yeah. Warning, right? Yep. If you swallow more than a pea-sized amount of this toothpaste, call the poison center immediately. Yeah. That's what it says on your fucking toothpaste. Grab one that doesn't have fluoride in it. Yeah. Grab one that doesn't have fluoride, and it will not say that on there. Really? So 100%.
Now, Key, I don't know. I brush my teeth, but I don't really give a shit what it's in it. It's in the mouth for like
it's absorbing.
Yeah, it's absorbing, but probably not to a point where
How many times you brush your teeth every day?
Well, yeah, I mean, I brush them twice a day, but...
And how many days do you live in a year?
Well, how many days do you live in a year? 365. Uh-huh.
So now you're talking 830.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
That this is in your mouth. Yeah. And your tongue is a huge absorber of everything. That's why if you have like a a supplement, like a powder supplement that's good for you. Let's say magnesium. You take it on your tongue and you let it absorb through your tongue.
Yeah.
And they actually say hydrating yourself with water. It's best to allow the water to be in your mouth and on your tongue because you absorb it through your tongue. Now you're brushing your teeth with fluoride, a toxic material, and it's going into your bloodstream quickly. So you don't think, oh yeah, I spit it out, I spit the toothpaste out, but you are absorbing a lot of that toxic material into your body. But you wouldn't put arsenic in your mouth and then spit it out, would you?
No.
Yeah.
Well, now what do you think about like the with the Food and Drug Administration to put the fluoride into toothpaste and stuff like that? So you think that's just, what do you think about
Food and Drug Administration is paid 60% of their budget from the companies they're supposed to be monitoring.
Okay, so
they're paid off to allow products to be on the market. The food and in this world, everything's upside down. Judges destroy justice.
Yep.
Education destroys knowledge. So schools what do schools teach you, dude?
I mean, I see. This is my thing about school. I think school should have. We learn the past so we don't repeat. So we learn history.
Well, we didn't learn that very well, though, did we?
No, we didn't. But I mean, that's I think what schools they want you to learn is stuff that happened in the past, so you don't repeat it. So I mean, I think schools should be more educated in real world stuff.
Absolutely.
like survival.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were in my real world math class where we learned like paying bills and
No, I wasn't.
No.
I
mean, it's a good skill to have. I learned a lot in that class. But like you have these kids now that can't work an 8-hour day because they think it's not right, and and they blame other people because of their I don't know how to explain it.
I don't know what's going on right now in those kids, man.
It's all because like we said earlier, they're looking at a tablet, looking at these influencers and being like, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up kids' minds. And they're like, oh, well, money will come in my lap. I don't have to work for it.
Yeah.
And it's horseshit. I think that, my dad taught me in the early ages worth ethic. Mm-hmm. He brought me into, he used to do Mayflower moving, basically.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he had the big old truck, dude.
He was a truck driver, and he would move like these rich executives from Kodak and stuff like that. But he taught me at an early age. He was like, hey, if you want to have money, you have to work for it.
Yep.
No one's going to give it to you. And so I learned at a very young age work ethic, and I've had jobs where I've hated it and stuff like that, but you have to do
and you do it.
You have to do it to survive.
Yeah.
Nothing gets handed to you anymore. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, but some people do get shit handed to them, like what is the welfare and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Welfare. Yeah. I don't agree with some of it.
I don't.
But it's to a point where it's like people on welfare are eating better than people that are working, and it's horseshit.
Yep.
I think that's...
And those people who are working are paying for those people to eat better than them. Mm-hmm. It is horseshit.
It is horseshit. I mean, I live in a trailer park.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what all these people in the trailer park do, but I imagine some of them do have some kind of, income where it's by the government, not by, and it pisses me off that my neighbor can drink all day, and get paid to drink all day while I have to bust my ass at work, and to make a decent living. It pisses me off.
Well, it should be illegal, first of all. Yeah. The taxes that we're taxed to create a welfare state are supposed to be illegal according to the Constitution. That's our private property. The money that we make by putting ourselves out for work. That's supposed to be our money.
Yeah.
So when we create a welfare state, the purpose of it is government can take more control over the people. If you have to abide by the government in order to get paid, you're going to be a puppet of the government. You know, you're going to fall right in line with everything that government wants to do. And it's communism.
Yeah.
I mean, communism is straight up a government that provides over the people. Like, you have to work for that government for it to give you the money, you know? So what they're creating is a new type of communism over the U.S. And they're destroying this work for your money, you know? So, of course, these people aren't going to work if they're going to get a fucking paycheck by the government. Yeah. And they're stealing our money for it, you know? I'm not for the welfare state whatsoever. Yeah. Dude. I think it is an atrocity. I think it's a absolute thievery of hardworking people. Yeah. You know, I get when people have a hard time, you know, like, you know, they get fired from some jobs and they need a little bit of assistance to get to the next job. Yeah. But that's not how it's being used.
Yeah. No, it's not. And, you know, I've had, you know, I mean, I think disability is a whole different game.
Disability certainly is. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, people that can't work, like, let's say someone with one leg, but you know, some people with one legs do work. So, but I mean, I'm the disabilities where you can't work, like if you're in pain 24/7, that's understandable. Absolutely. But if you're claiming disability because you have some kind of, I don't know, just like some horse shit excuse to not work, I think that should be criminalized.
It should be. And I want to jump back to the school real quick. Yeah. Because here's a quote from Rockefeller. He said, with the school system, what's he say? I do not want a country of creative thinkers. I want a country of workers. Yep. So he's one of the biggest assets one of the biggest pushers of the public school system, right? And that's how he views it. So create a factory of workers, you know, people that are like, they don't know anything else. They're not creative in their own ways. They're not coming up with their own businesses, but more so they're looking to just work the factories and be drones for the system, you know? Yeah. So our school system teaches you just enough in order for you to enter into the work world and never exceed a certain level.
You know, and when you say that though, you know, I agree with you, but at the same time, you know, I learned a lot of dumb stuff in high school that like we don't use today.
That's
like, like I said before, the real world stuff they should lean more onto.
Well,
like
they should be pushing our creativity, you know, pushing us to become entrepreneurs. Like, you know, America was so successful at one point because we were inventing everything. Yeah, we were creative. We were coming up with new companies, and when you come up with your own company, you weren't getting taxed to hell, you know? Yeah. Because right now you get taxed to hell, so it's preventing any entrepreneurship from actually developing. Yeah. Whereas before, entrepreneurship was pushed. It was like praised, you know, for you to be an entrepreneur. Now they smash you down, dude, and they put their Amazon up. You know, you can't own a shop in Canandaigua anymore. No. Everybody buys everything from Walmart. They buy everything from Amazon. And going back to Corona, what shops were open? Your mom and pop shop wasn't open, right? Yep. You had to go to Walmart. Yep. So they crushed any entrepreneurship that was around. And that's the point of this whole system. Yeah. You know, is to keep you from pursuing your own future, keep you in their future only. And that's where I'm like stoked on you. Like you've done you've always had a mind that has come up with different things to do. You know? Like when we were kids, you're making hats, you know, you want to sell some hats. We were making hats.
Well, you know, when I was a kid, I always thought I could make like $1 million off of some stupid idea that I had.
Yeah, but why can't you, right?
Yeah,
you know,
true.
You could. And if you don't let go of that kid notion, you know, that you can make this $1 million, you probably would, you know, if you didn't get defeated by the outside system telling you, no, you can't. This is stupid. That's a stupid idea. If you would have just kept on pursuing that idea, you know, next idea, and you put that idea into reality, fucking, that's how you make $1 million.
Yeah, that is true. You know, and so my goal with podcasting and all that was to do it full time. Like do it like I would do like maybe a Tuesday through Friday every day, make an episode. That's my goal. to do. But, you know, with the reality of like these other podcasts out there, like, you know, like the big wigs, like Joe Rogan, you know, the one that you were talking about before the episode, all these, you know, they crush little guys like us but, you know, and I think it has to do with the content too that you have. Like if you have some bullshit content, no one's going to listen to it.
Yeah.
So you have to think outside the box. And that's what I was always good at was thinking outside the box and like, you know, and just talking about my past, you know, because we lived like a crazy past and a lot of people want to hear that shit. So that's, you know, that's one of the reasons why I got into podcasting.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and I've always had I always wanted to be in radio. Ever since I went to college for like a semester and a half, and I said, "Fuck this shit." But you know, I discovered podcasting, and I fell in love with it, and that is I want to do this full time. But the harsh reality of America is that they want to put you in debt, where you have to work to pay for debt, and constantly your free time is working.
Yeah.
So that's what with me right now is that, you know, I'm in a little debt and I have to work to get myself out of debt. I think that these credit card companies are making you so easy to get one.
Oh yeah.
So they're like, oh, we'll give you $7,000 to spend.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's like a kid in a candy store. Like you're like, oh, you can get as much candy as you want and just pay 2 pieces of Tootsie Rolls a year. And they put you in fucking debt. Oh. And it's the average American person is in so much debt that they have to work until they're like 70, 75.
Yeah.
And it's horseshit.
Yeah. Well, you go into the Walmart and you see how many old people are checking out at the counters there. It's depressing. Dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's depressing that these old people that, you know, they're supposed to have this Social Security, the big lie of Social Security, where they take out money out of every single one of your paychecks, telling you when you get old, here's your retirement money.
Yeah.
You know, meanwhile, you go into a store, who's working the lines, you know? It's these people that are 70, 80, you know? And then I look at my parents too, you know, like they work their whole lives. My father's still working the bees, you know, he does the bees. He loves doing it. This is what keeps him alive. You know, working is, you know, my dad, he's a worker.
Yeah, he's a worker.
He just goes and goes and goes, dude. He needs something to do, and that's what keeps him going. But these guys, my dad's 75, you know, and now he still has to work, and the money he makes has to go to paying the property taxes and the house taxes, you know, the house property taxes.
Yeah.
It's like they're in their 70s and they still have to pay these taxes on a house that they've owned for fucking 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years they've owned this house straight up, and they still got to pay the state.
Oh, yeah.
So where's the private property there? So what I'm saying is, man, even you work your whole life, you're paid up on everything, you're not in debt, but they still keep you just lingering on, you know, just barely hanging on and having to pay any kind of money that you have back into the government. You know? And then I even thought the other day just about, you know, because my mom's got this sicknesses, like the cancer stuff, and you see them, you see how many older people, when they're getting at this older age, have some kind of sickness, disease, you know, like cancers and all this stuff. And a lot of the cancers and all this is coming from the toxic chemicals that are around
everywhere,
us, that are in our waters, that are in our food, you know. All this shit is false, right? All this shit is fake, and it's fucking put in there. And these people get so sick that at the end of their lives, they're paying all the rest of their money that they've accumulated their whole lives. They're paying it right to the pharmaceutical industry. So it's ending, you know, it's like the last, you know, that money that would go to your kids, you know, your what do they call it? Your will. You know, the money that you would pass on, the generational money that you would give to your kids to hopefully have a good life too, is all stolen again by the system, you know, by these pharmaceutical companies have gotten people so sick that they have to trade in all that last little scrap of money they have at the end of their life back into them.
Yeah, and it seems like America. I read this article about how like America has the highest rating of cancer out of every, and it's so true. Like when you put in like a shitload of chemicals just to make your bagel last like a week longer, like it is so crazy. And you know but it's so much cheaper. Just let's say to eat healthier right now.
Yeah.
Like a salad at, let's say you go to Walmart and you get a salad. It's like $10, but like you can get a frozen burrito for $1 something that has like a ridiculous amount of preservatives and stuff like that. It's just, it is more expensive to eat healthier in America right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so let me ask you, do you think that's done on purpose, or do you think that's just a byproduct of
I think it is. These companies think, hey, you know, we can make some money off this, so let's jack up the price to eat healthier. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that is right.
Yep, I don't think it's right at all.
I don't think.
I think it's done on purpose, because I do believe they're trying to restrict population. They're trying to kill off a huge amount of population, because that's what all of them tell us. You know, all the people at the very top, the elitists, are all depopulationists.
Yeah.
They all are eugenics, all into eugenics. People like Bill Gates is a huge eugenicist, and his father was a huge eugenicist. Mm-hmm. And they come up with Planned Parenthood and all that stuff as well to be able to erase a lot of population as well.
Yeah.
But they have, to my understanding, through books that I've read and stuff that I've researched, is there's an actual agreement from these elite down into certain countries that you have to be able to control over how big your population is getting. If your population starts to get too big, and you're not addressing it right through birth control, through you can call it birth control or killing them in food or whatever, then we will cause a civil war over there. And this has happened to places like El Salvador. When their population got too large, other outside countries destabilize the country, so it would create a civil war and kill off a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So these people at the top who have unlimited amounts of money and a lot of power, they make sure that the rest of the world fits their population quota. Mm-hmm. So there's ways to do this. Food, by causing this food and the cancer, you keep people holding on just long enough to take all their money back in, absorb all their money. Mm-hmm. You do it through war. Mm-hmm. You know, look at all the war we have going on in the Middle East. We're killing everybody over there. We've been killing people over there for, since we've been in high school. Mm-hmm. You know, they've been bombing over there. All over the world, they're starting these wars for no reason, right? Mm-hmm. Disease is a huge one. Corona was a big one. We see Corona come out of the fucking laboratory in Wuhan. Mm-hmm. You know, it was dropped out of there, where you got scientists making this fucking sickness. This sickness because they claim that they have to make it in order to come up with a cure for it. Yeah. So that's why we do it in these laboratories. We make these fake fucking viruses. So if it does ever come out, we know how to cure it. Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah. They do it so they can drop it on a population of people and wipe them out as much as they need to. Yeah. You know, I heard just recently that they've taken that coronavirus and they've in China, and they've mixed it up and they've given it to rats, and it's killed every single one.
Yep. It's so stupid, because you would think that, with this coronavirus why would you fool around with it even more? Yeah. Like why? Like what is the point of making a crazier strand of coronavirus where it killed 99% of the rats? Yeah. It's so dumb. Like, and I understand the whole population thing. I don't know. I mean, I think that it's just a virus that basically puts fear into people, and then that fear is profit.
Yep. So fear is profit, and beyond profit, because profit is only so much. Power is what the real objective is. It's all power, man. Yeah. Because look, how many times have you looked at how much money these people have made and you said, what do you need all this money for? You already got this. They don't need all that money. Mm-hmm. But what comes with the money is the power over countries. Yeah. If you have that amount of money, you have power over the people, you have power over the countries. And that's what they're trying to get. These are power-hungry fucking psychopaths at the top. And fucking psychopaths want to control over another person. Like say you meet somebody who wants to control everything about you. You're dating a chick. Let's say the chick was fucking nuts, dude, and she controlled everything about you. She gets a kick out of it, you know? She loves having that control over you.
Yep.
And you would probably consider her a psychopath. Now we talk the people at the very top that were able to scratch and nail their way to the top through families and generations staying at the top. These are the queens and the kings and the princes and the nobles that had existed during the feudal systems. Those are the same people that are still at the top. If you look at their bloodlines, it's all the same bloodlines. You know, these George Bushes, whatever, Bill Gates, they all come from the same bloodlines.
Yeah.
So they've been able to keep their psychopathic asses on top and dominate that power and control over the world, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what they're looking to do. And when we talk about these viruses that they're making this, why are they making it? Like you said, why are they making it?
Why? Like, what is the point of the coronavirus? Like, you gotta think of these like a bunch of lab dorks are in there, and they're just they're like, oh well, you know, this coronavirus, you know, it might be good, and it's like, no, it wasn't good, you dummy. Like you just wiped out millions of people. But yeah, it's just, I don't know why they're messing around with a strand of coronavirus that has a 99% kill rate.
Psychopaths, my friend.
Yeah. But
it's just it's a psychopathic world up at the top, man. And they say, you know, if you were to look at the CEOs, people who are in CEO positions in the world, I think it's like 90-something% of them are legitimately psychopaths if you were able to evaluate them, you know?
Yeah.
So the world's run by them.
Yeah.
Psychopaths, pedophiles, fucking Satanists. It's all there, dude.
Yeah. So now you live in Indonesia.
Now I live in Indonesia for that reason.
Yeah.
For that reason.
So Indonesia, how did you ended up there? Like, what made you think, hey, I'm going to go to Indonesia and live there?
Again, Corona, dude.
Yeah, it's all Corona.
Well, you know, I went to Indonesia in 2018, maybe. Yeah. 2017 or 18, and it was nice, man. It's beautiful. The life is simple.
Yeah.
You know, surfing's good. You're out in the sun. It's sick, man. It's just a sick, awesome place to be, and you feel free.
Yeah.
You feel unrestricted.
Yeah.
You feel like there's not, you know, when I live over here, I got 3 times where cops have held guns to my head over here.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, man. 3 times, dude. 3 separate times. The last time was very serious, and you know, after that kind of stuff happens to you, you're looking over your shoulder all the time.
Oh,
you know?
I would too.
Anytime you see a police, dude, you start sweating, you know, and you start looking this way, that way. If you're driving a car and he's behind you, you're freaking out. I mean, you're freaking out anyway, whether you have guns at your head or not, because the cops are always trying to get you for something. Yeah. So I felt like living in the States, I was just on this constant like watch, you know, like watching my back everywhere, and I felt so like contained, you know, so scared for the one time that it happens that they fucking shoot and kill me or something.
Yeah.
Or they arrest me for something stupid, you know, and hold you in jail for something stupid. So anyway, I've been living in Austria in the winter times, and I was out in Austria skiing in 2019. And then Corona hit.
Yeah.
And because I think the way I do, you know, I look into all the conspiracies, which are just facts that are later to be facts, you know?
Yeah.
So I knew that they were going to cause a disease.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew how they would do it. I knew there would be lockdowns. There would be all this craziness that we saw. The forced vaccination. Already knew it before, because people that are smarter than me and looked into things before me also said it, you know, and then you put it all together and you connect the dots. That's what's going to happen. So when I was in Austria, they closed down all the ski resorts, and I said, okay, this is serious. Finally happening.
Yeah, this
is what I've been looking at.
Yeah.
You know? So I actually got a ticket back to the States, and then I'm watching the news and everything, and the States just looks like a shit show. You know, it's the borders are people crossing over, going through the security at the airlines, at the airports. It's just full, dude. Yeah. It's like hours and hours of wait. With this stuff going on, and we didn't know how bad it was at the time too, you know. So you're wondering, man, what did they unleash on the people? Like, I don't want to be around a fucking 4-hour line over there. And I know the US is going to go crazy.
Yep.
I know it's just going to be insane over there. So I said, where do I go next? I thought about going to Africa.
Yeah.
To I think Ghana I was looking at, because there's some surf in Ghana.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, man, maybe I go to Africa. It'll be a couple months, you know, I'll just chill out a couple months and surf and everything. Or I go to Indonesia, which I already know. And I just decided, you know, all right, cancel my plane ticket to the U.S. I'm going to Indonesia. And it was kind of crazy when I did it, because Germany was the hot spot in the beginning.
Yeah.
You remember that? Germany, Italy, they were...
Yeah, they were shutting down like everything just to prepare for the coronavirus.
Yeah. So Germany, when I had to go to Germany to fly out.
Yep.
To Munich to fly out. And my flight was in a couple days. I got done skiing one day with Tom before they closed the ski resorts. And his girlfriend tells me, hey, man, they're closing the borders tonight.
Oh, shit.
You have to get to the airport now, you know? So I packed all my stuff up. I took a train, and it was a crazy train, dude. There's like hardly any people on there. They're wearing face masks. It looked like a zombie apocalypse.
Yep.
You know, it was just like this fucking out of a movie, dude. Everybody's like wary of each other, looking around at each other like, you're going to get me sick, you know? And then I got into Munich. I took my first flight into Athens, Greece. And then from there, I was supposed to fly into Singapore.
Yeah.
But then I go in to check in at the counter, and they tell me, well, you came from Germany. You're not allowed to fly into Singapore. They just banned anybody from Germany yesterday. So I'm like, fuck, man. So I had to rebook a ticket with Turkish Airlines where I would fly into somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I made these fake receipts
that
I'd been in Greece the whole time. So I made like these fake ski tickets and the fake receipts, and it was like, okay, I can show them this, you know? So I got up to the counter. I had to wait in there for 12 hours, dude. And then I get to the counter, and this lady just did not want me to go, you know? She's like, dude, she's trying to find because there's all types of new rules coming out constantly, right? Where you can go. So she's holding me up there forever, man. And then I finally got on that plane, finally got out of there, and I felt like I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're running from a storm the whole time, dude. The tornado's behind you, and you're in a car just zooming away like fuck, and every turn you make is like coming around the other corner. So once I made it in and I got my feet outside of there and like checked in through customs and everything, because I couldn't believe it before I went through customs that I'm in there.
Yeah.
And once you get in, you're just like, freedom, dude. I'm here, you know?
Yeah.
So made it to Indonesia, and actually it was pretty stupid over there as well. But I went to a small town in Indonesia, small little surf town, and they ended up closing down all the surfing around, man. In Uluwatu, which is a popular surf area in Canggu, they closed it all down, so nobody's allowed to surf. But the small town that I went to, because I already was thinking like, all right, get out. Get out of the city, dude. Get out of the city, get to a beach, remote beach.
Yeah.
Be straight. So I got out there, and nobody was allowed to come into the town after I got in. Another week went by, and they closed it down. So nobody's allowed in, nobody's allowed out. So it was just like a few of us like tourists in there.
Yeah.
And then a few like local tourists.
Yeah.
And some of the locals. And we got to surf there for 3 months, not be locked down, no wearing face masks, no doing none of that shit, man.
Yeah.
None of it, man. We were just in our own little world over there.
Yeah.
And fuck, man, that's how it ended up being in Indonesia after that too. I went to another island, and you know, we never wore a face mask. We fucking hung out. We went to restaurants all the time. We chilled and never got touched by any of it, you know? And that's why I went to Indonesia, man, because I knew that it would be more freedom.
Yeah.
I'd be able to fish if I need to fish. If I need food,
just get your own.
Jump in the water and get some food.
Now, with being in Indonesia, like, how do you like make money? Do you work like side jobs like out there, or it almost seems like you're a big hustler out there, because you know you gotta try to make. I wish I
was a big hustler, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wish I was a big hustler, but I actually, you know, just drained my whole savings account, you know, all the money that I saved up, and I sold some land in Colorado. So I lasted on that money for a while.
Okay.
And then I started up a spearfishing company.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of money to like start that up, and would rent out the guns. But now I'm starting to do it more, you You know,
Yeah, okay.
Years ago, it wasn't really taken off.
Yeah.
And now I manage a surf resort on a small island out there.
Yeah.
So I got a job managing a cool, really nice surf resort on a beautiful island. And I don't make much money, but, you know, good, simple life.
If you're happy, that's all that matters, right? I mean, you do what you love. And in a lot of people like me, you know, I do stuff that I don't love, like to make money, and it sucks. Like I talked about this in my last episode of the podcast. You have these like fucking little kids making millions of dollars off of these YouTube and just like a bunch of these stupid like video games.
And how can they be rewarded with so much money off of something that is not contributing to a society whatsoever? You know, they're fucking playing a game. But that's how brainwashed people are, is that they'll watch, you know, I see kids watching other kids playing these video games. And it's like, what the go outside, dude.
Yeah, really.
Go play, man.
Yeah.
It's a weird world we live in that is just,
it's all greed.
it's backwards, man. Everything's backwards, dude.
Yep. It's all let's make money the easiest way and get, you know, and so if I had to like give one life advice through this episode is don't open up a credit card. Don't get loans. Just work hard for your money, spend it wisely and whatnot. So, I mean,
dude, 100%, man.
Yeah. So
you definitely have to stay out of debt.
Yeah.
Don't go into debt in the first place, man.
Yeah. Cause
if you don't feel like college is right for you, don't go to college.
No, don't go to college.
Don't go to college looking for a freaking liberal arts degree. And waste 4 years of money and 4 years of your time. Go out there, get yourself an idea and make your idea work. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Before I always thought that like taking a year off of high school and going into your first year of college, I thought that was the most stupidest idea. Now I don't anymore. I think that you should take time off of school after high school and just be like, hey, you know, maybe I like this, maybe I don't, you know, kind of live life a little bit, because you were brought up in a society where you were told from the age of kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade that, you know, you have to live life this way. You have to do life, you know, they teach you stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, they teach you stuff to learn, but you don't use half of it. And they brainwash you to go to college and be like, look, because if you don't go to college, you're going to be a piece of shit their whole life.
Yeah, it's a business. It's a business, bro.
And
school is a business.
Yeah. I think I do all right with living. You know, I bought a place, you know, I have, I pay lot fee, you know, which sucks. But I mean, now we're looking at a house, right? We're looking to buy a house. It's fucking impossible because the house market in the state of New York is ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard it.
It
blew up tremendously.
It is the most ridiculous thing. We took a look at this house down the road, and they wanted a ridiculous amount of money, and it was a piece of shit. Like it needed so much work, and that closed for over, I think, $50,000 of what they were asking for, because it was people buy these houses and turn them into Airbnbs, and there is no, and then you have the whole Farmington, New York. It's just all these houses that look the same. They're building
cookie cutter houses.
Cutter houses.
Yeah.
They want a ridiculous amount of money for those. They want $500,000 for one of these houses. They're not going to sell. They're just going to go. People are going to buy them and turn them into Airbnbs. It's ridiculous now.
Well, I remember I was talking with Eric Leisley yesterday, man, and I was just reminiscing, like when we were kids, you would see houses for like $150,000, and that was like the price range that we would think a good house was. You know, like a nice house would be a little bit over $100,000.
Yeah,
and that was like what we thought our future would be. You know, that we can buy a house it's a pretty normal price, and now it's $500,000. Man.
$500,000.
When you're a kid, you're looking. I mean, not even a kid. You know, when we're 18, 19, 20, $1 million was.
That was huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
$500,000 was fucking huge.
Yep.
You wouldn't dream of a house $500,000, you know, like, wow, that's expensive. That's a baller luxury house. Now a $500,000 house isn't anything special. Maybe it's got 3 bedrooms, maybe, you know, it's got a little bit of property, maybe, you know? It's, they've inflated the market, dude. And if you want to know, I'll tell you why.
What's that?
I got another one for you here.
All right.
BlackRock and State Street. They're 2 huge hedge fund companies.
Okay.
They own all the big corporations. They have a majority share in. So they control over a majority of the big corporations that you would talk about, like whether it's Nestle or whatever, right? But they're buying up the houses. They're buying up a huge amount of houses around different cities. And their idea is the whole principle of, you know, the 4th revolution here is you will own nothing and you will like it. So you will rent everything.
Yeah.
So they want to abolish private property, and they have to drive up the market so high that it's impossible for you to own a house and to own a property. And instead, they are buying up the houses, and they're buying it up at hyperinflated rates because they can. Their GDP is in the trillions.
Yeah.
They have trillions, more than countries. These 2 companies. So they can spend a ridiculous amount of money buying up all the houses, and then they'll rent it back to you.
Yeah.
They'll rent it back.
Yeah.
So that's where the value's gone up so much. There's a purpose to it, and its a purpose is to abolish private property and to make this world that you have to rent everything you live in. And that's the communism I'm talking about, man. It's a corporate communism that's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
The companies, the big corporations will own everything, and you will rent from them, and the government will be the buffer zone in between the 2.
Yeah, and it's like the interests and stuff like that too. Like they, you know, each year my lot fee goes up. Like it goes from, I think it like raises every year like $20. It's like something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And it just constantly raises. And you, like you said, like it's just, they want you to never own land. They want you to never own a house. They want you to pay the interest rate until you're dead.
Yep.
So
that's what they want, brother.
Yeah.
That's why you got to move out to Indonesia, bro.
Yeah, you know,
Get on out, dude.
Take my dogs, you know, and they'll be now. Do they have a lot of street dogs there?
Oh, a lot of street dogs.
Yeah.
Bro. Yeah, your dogs would get ripped apart.
Yeah, probably. My dogs are, you know,
they're pretty soft, man.
Yeah, they're pretty soft. They have we spoil them to death, though. I mean, they're our fur babies, and you know, I always, my parents never really had any pets.
No, I remember they.
Well,
did.
they had a dog. They had a dog, but that was because my mom was getting sick and needed a companion for the day. So
yeah, because she never had a dog when we were growing up.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was my senior year in high school. We had a dog. We got a dog, and it was to, you know, spend time with my mom, and you know, and I mean, that dog was a blessing. You know, it was, and I learned from that, and I decided to get a dog, and it was around Corona time, and we got a dog, and I think I'm not a big religious person. I'm not a big there's a higher power, you know, and stuff like that. But I think that there is something out there that brought these dogs to me, and you know, and I
love them, huh?
I love them.
Yeah.
They have so much energy when I get home.
Happy to see you.
They love to sleep on my lap. They you know, it's just one of those things where they're just companions. Yeah. They are. Now, funny thing about dogs, you have cats, right?
Yeah, dude.
You have 2 cats.
Yeah, 2 cats, bro.
That they're trained, right?
I mean, they're trained pretty well, dude. We traveled all around Indonesia, so they jump on the bike with me on the scooter.
Do they know? Do the cats know commands?
Yeah, they come to me.
Yeah.
Singa I haven't done it in a while, but he can sit. You know, if I tell him to sit. But you know, if I just go, they come and they follow me. If I go out, wherever I go, they follow me along. So we'll go out. I've done camping a lot with them.
Okay.
So we'll go walk trails and stuff, and they'll follow me on the trails.
That's
I'll go to
crazy.
The beach. When I'd go surfing, they would follow me out to the beach
to
surf. And then they just chill on the beach the whole time I'm surfing. I come back and they come back with me.
Yeah.
So they are like dogs in that way.
Yeah,
they're the coolest cats, bro.
Yeah,
Coolest cats.
so my parents had a cat, and like it was the nastiest thing ever. It was the most nastiest cat ever. It would hiss at you if you walked by. Like it was just not a nice cat.
What was his name?
Pity.
Pity, that's it. Well, you gave it the name Pity. So.
Yeah. So I remember one time my friend was picking me up or something like that, and I pet the cat, and the cat swooped up and got me right in the eyelid and pulled my eyelid. And so
like hooked underneath the eyelid.
No, it was like above, like it hooked right underneath my eyelid, and it was just like that thing was a piece of shit. And so I
remember Ricky was always mean to that.
Oh yeah, Ricky. Well, Ricky was always mean to everyone. So
he's cool.
Yeah, I know. So I wanted to get your opinion about like if you could tell someone today what to do with their lives, what kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I would say, dude, come up with an idea, come up with a dream and chase it down. Don't let people tell you no. Don't let people tell you can't do it. Go achieve it. If you got a dream and you got an idea, you push the way towards your idea every day.
Yeah.
I think, look, you don't build a brick wall in one day, right? But if you put a brick there every single day, you're going to wake up one day and see that you have a brick wall made.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got an idea, if you got a dream, do something little every single day to push yourself in the direction of that dream. And don't give up and make it happen.
Yeah.
Because it can happen. It does happen. But it won't happen if you don't do nothing for it. Yeah. So we got to put in effort. You can't be lazy. Sometimes I think to myself, if I find myself a little bit lazy sometimes, I don't want to do something, I tell myself, don't be lazy. Simple as that. Yeah. Don't be lazy. Because if not now, when? Yeah. If I don't do this now, when am I going to do it? If I do it now, it's done.
Yeah.
So, I always remind myself if I feel that laziness coming on, like, get up, do it.
Yeah.
Accomplish it.
Nice.
And keep chasing, man.
Yeah. I think we're going to end it there. I think because we're at an hour and a half.
All right, brother.
It was good.
Time passes by, huh?
Yeah. When I do these podcasts, like I have fun. And then when I look up the time, I'm like, holy crap, we've been doing this for like an hour and a half. But so I want to thank you for being on my podcast.
Brother. Much love, man.
Yeah, you messaged me all the time. You're like, "Oh, I'm going to be on the podcast," and it was kind of hard because I know like equipment, like technology and stuff like that, but some of it I don't. That's why I bought like the most easiest stuff to use because I don't know how to, I don't know how to explain it.
And my computer's pretty shit back in Indo. Dude.
Yeah.
And shit connection,
So
it's better we finally got to meet up in person and do this.
So, yeah.
Bro. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So, that was the Bogart podcast this week. Follow Ahmet on social media. Do you know him or?
At Ahmet Dadali.
Okay.
And if you're looking for a vacation in Indonesia, out in Simalu, check out Dylan's Retreat Simalu.
Okay.
So check out my name on there and
yeah,
hit me up with a DM if you're looking for a vacation. And I'll get you out there doing some spearfishing, doing some surfing, hang out on some beaches, see some islands, all that good stuff.
That's good. Yeah. That's good to hear. Thanks again, my friend, and we'll see you on the other side.
Sir, brother. You.
This has been a Beer Pirate Radio production.